Hey, what's up guys? I want to share a final team that I ran in Kanto Cup. So this was called Mime Double Pika. So basically I made a silly kind of spicy ABB team with Galar Mr. Mime. Shouldn't be surprising if you've seen me run Mr. Rhyme. And we've got Raichu, who I'm going to swap into immediately here since I am running ABB and I don't want my Mr. Mime to, for example, end up with that Lickitung. And then we've also got XL Pikachu Libre. So both of these Pikachu variants have access to an electric move as well as to a fighting move. So that's going to come in useful against these normal types like Lickitung. So we already did 1/3 damage with one Brick Break, and then we got a shield with the second. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get one more Brick Break off because they probably don't want to go down 2 shields. And then I think I can go ahead and come back in. As long as they don't shield this, I can come back in now with Galar Mr. Mime, and I can commit 1 shield against their Body Slam and try to get some farm of energy in case it will be useful. For example, an Ice Punch would be useful against the Pidgeot. Okay, look how hard that confusion hits. We did like maybe 3 confusions and that Lickitung is gone. The last 2 hitting pretty hard. So she comes in with Shadow Shiny Lapras. And if they let this damage through, this is actually going to do quite a bit. So maybe the strategy was pick their tank to soak the damage, and then they swap to Pidgeot. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring in the XL Pika Libre here, and if they Brave Bird here, then I'll just farm down and keep my shield. They don't, they go for the Feather Dance, and I go for what I thought was CMP, but apparently I let a Gust sneak through. I go for the Thunder Punch, and ooh, it still does like 1/3 damage. So pretty decent. Now I'm gonna go for Flying Press to see if that would KO. But because they snuck that Gust through, this is a CMP. I will now get more farm on Mr. Mime, but I didn't necessarily need it. Really it would have been nice to avoid taking that damage from Pidgeot. And so Mr. Mime is resisting these Ice Shards, but Lapras is not resisting the confusions, and that's GG. Alright guys, let's hop into match 2 of Mime Double Pika. And let's see what kind of lead we get. Last match we got the Pidgeot lead. Alright, we have Poliwrath. So this is actually pretty good. All 3 of the Pokemon on my team can do pretty well against it. Now, I had to make a decision here. Do I insta-swap and still potentially get outpaced? Or do I try to maybe tank some of the damage on Mr. Mime and build up to a Psychic in case I can do that later? Ooh, survives the Bulldoze. And I think I left with near or right at a Psychic. And now we're going to be able to either KO this Sandslash, or we're going to be able to get a shield and maybe KO with the next one. All right, so it KOs, they let it through. And okay, so this was actually a fighter double normal line. And so now I'm going to be able to threaten the normal and dark type with Brick Break spam. And so we get a shield. I think it's worth committing a shield here to at least threaten one more Brick Break, but I don't want them to catch it. I do 1 over and they catch it anyways. So well played on their part. I could have tried to over farm quite a bit there. That's what I should have done. And now I'm gonna go back to Mime with the Psychic that's loaded. I think I over-tapped there, so we did see 1 confusion go through, but we're still gonna get this Psychic off. And they make the choice to let that go as well. And so we're down to just the Rat and a shield, and I get the Ice Punch off, but they are building up a lot of farm of energy. So I've got to consider who's going to be my closer. And so I think what I want to do is come back in with Raichu, because we're near that brick break anyway. I will get the brick break off, at least they have to shield to not let it through. And then I can shield my Raichu if I want to try to reach that next brick break, but instead I decide to commit to Pikachu Libre as the closer. So we let the crunch through. And now I'm just going to try to keep building energy here. They're already at another crunch, and to be honest, I don't know if Pikachu Libre lives that crunch. And I know that I can outpace. I was one away. The opponent sees the writing on the wall, and they concede the match. GG. Alright guys, let's look at our final match in the showcase of the Mime double Pika line from Kanto Cup. Let's see what lead we get this time. We had Pidgeot before, and then we had the Poliwrath, and now we get Primate. So that could be mutually assured destruction, but I do have the fast move advantage there. They swap out to a Pidgeot, and I need to do better timings here than I did in the first match. So I do, and I catch them at the end of their gust to get this Thunder Punch through. They do shield because that would not have been debuffed by any sort of Feather Dance. And I'm going to make a call that they're not going to Brave Bird, because then I would get a lot of farm if they did. And so now I am Feather Danced. And I try to catch them at the end. It looks like we did deny. I don't see another gust coming through. Going for another Thunder Punch. And it does KO, even though it's debuffed. Okay. So instead of coming back in with the Fighter, they come back in with the Muck. And so I've seen all of their cards now, and now I know not to come back in with Mr. Mime, because a Muck is just too good of a counter against Mr. Mime. If Mr. Mime has the energy lead of an Ice Punch, that would be great. I do have a move banked here, but it is debuffed, and I kind of want to keep shield advantage here. So I just let the Raichu go. But good timing on throwing the move on their part. And so now they see the rest of my double Pika line. And I think we are on a CMP here. I do hope it's not a false CMP. I am going to shield. That would probably KO Pika Libre from there. And it looks like we're going to at least threaten this Flying Press. So I'm interested to see, do they let it through? Okay, so now they've burned both shields. And at this point, I just want to farm. I should have farmed more. Once again, an opponent catching one of my fighting moves. And so I'm going to go ahead and swap immediately back into Mime and Confusion down before they get to that Nice Slash. Take minimal damage. And here I've just got to make the call. I'm at the Ice Punch, but I don't think it will KO. And then I don't think I'll be able to Spark down. So I just make the decision to make the call to keep the shield, build to the Flying Press, and the opponent says, I see the writing on the wall. I don't want to be hit with that. GG.